In the late 1970s, as disco fever swept dance floors and Star Wars captivated moviegoers, a small British automaker was quietly working on a sports car that would earn the nickname the English Corvette. This is the story of the Triumph TR8, a powerful V8 engine sports car that burned bright but brief in automotive history. Our tale begins in the early 1970s. The British Leyland Company, which owned the Triumph brand, was planning the successor to their popular TR6 sports car. They turned to designer Harris Mann, who created a striking wedge-shaped design for the new TR7. But even as the TR7 was being developed, Triumph had bigger plans in mind. In 1972, a prototype of a V8-powered version was built. This car would eventually become the TR8. However, the road from prototype to production would be long and bumpy. British Leyland was facing financial troubles and labor disputes. The company also had limited supplies of V8 engines, with other brands like MG and Range Rover getting priority. These factors delayed the TR8 project for several years. Despite the setbacks, Triumph didn't give up on the idea. By 1978, they had built about 145 prototype TR8. These early cars were all coupes, with no external badges to identify them as TR8. They were distributed to various dealers for evaluation and then sold off as used cars. Today, these prototypes are rare and highly sought after by collectors. The TR8 finally entered production in 1978. Unlike its predecessor, the TR7, which used a smaller four-cylinder engine, the TR8 was powered by a 3.5-liter V8 engine. This wasn't a Triumph-designed engine, though. Instead, it came from another British Leyland brand, Rover. The Rover V8 has an interesting history of its own. It was originally designed by Buick, an American car company, in the early 1960s. Rover acquired the rights to this engine from General Motors in the mid-1960s. Over the years, Rover refined the design, improving its reliability and performance. By the time it found its way into the TR8, it had become a well-regarded power plant known for its flexibility and robustness. Initially, the TR8's engine was fed by twin Zenith-Stromberg carburetors. In this configuration, it produced about 133 horsepower. However, Triumph soon began experimenting with fuel injection. About 400 TR8 sold in California in 1980 were equipped with Bosch L-Jetronic fuel injection and a special Lucas fuel injection computer. These cars saw a slight bump in power to 137 horsepower. For the 1981 model year, all North American TR8s received fuel injection. This boosted power to 148 horsepower, allowing the car to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over 8 seconds. Impressive performance for the time. The TR8 wasn't just about its engine, though. Compared to the TR7, it received several other upgrades. The brakes were improved to handle the extra power. The axle ratio was changed to 3.08 to 1, matching the automatic transmission TR7. The battery was moved to the trunk for better weight distribution. The TR8 also received alloy wheels and a leather steering wheel, giving it a more premium feel. Despite these improvements, the TR8 remained largely similar to the TR7 in appearance. This was both a blessing and a curse. The wedge-shaped design was distinctive, but it was also controversial. Some loved its futuristic look, while others found it unappealing. This divided opinion may have contributed to the car's limited sales success. Production of the TR8 was split between several factories in England. It was built at Speke in Merseyside, Canley in Coventry, and Solihull in the West Midlands. This scattered production was partly due to labor unrest and factory closures that plagued British Leyland during this period. The TR8 was primarily sold in the United States and Canada. In fact, very few were ever officially sold in its home country of Britain. The car was briefly slated for a UK launch, with a pilot production run of 22 cars made. However, British Leyland unexpectedly canceled the project. These pre-production cars were sold to the public through dealerships and are now highly collectible. The TR8 was produced in both coupe and convertible body styles, but the convertible was by far the more common. It's estimated that only about 400 TR8 coupes were ever built. The convertible, or drophead in British terminology, was introduced in 1979 and designed by the Italian styling house Michelotti. Determining the exact production numbers for the TR8 is challenging due to the labor turmoil at British Leyland during this time. However, most estimates place total production at around 2,750 cars. Some sources cite slightly different numbers, ranging from 2,722 to 2,815, but the general consensus is that fewer than 3,000 were built between 1978 and 1981. In North America, the TR8 was priced at around $11,000 when new. Today, it's estimated that only about 1,000 convertibles and 200 coupes survive. In the UK, the numbers are even smaller, with only about 50 TR8s registered as of 2011. Despite its low production numbers, the TR8 made its mark in motorsports. Rally driver John Buffum successfully campaigned a TR8 in the late 1970s. In circuit racing, Bob Tullius and his Group 44 team dominated the Sports Car Club of America, SCCA, racing series in 1979. Their success was so overwhelming that the SCCA added weight to the car as a handicap, prompting Tullius to switch to the IMSA GT series instead. The TR8 also found success in showroom stock racing. Drivers like Maury Doyle and Ted Schumacher competed successfully in SCCA events. Schumacher, in particular, had a strong showing in the Playboy-style Escort Endurance Series, finishing 7th in the manufacturer's points despite having no official factory support. The TR8's racing pedigree is made more impressive by the fact that it was homologated for Group 4 racing on April 1, 1978. This required the production of 400 similar cars suitable for normal sale. However, Triumph had only built about 150 cars by this time, largely due to a 17-week strike at the Speak plant. The homologation was achieved through some creative interpretation of the rules and fast-talking by British Leyland's Motorsport directors. Despite its potential, the TR8's production run was short-lived. The last TR8s were built in October 1981, alongside the last TR7. The car's demise was part of a larger restructuring at British Leyland, which was struggling financially and streamlining its product lineup. Today, the Triumph TR8 is remembered as a car that showed great promise, but was ultimately a victim of its time. It combined classic British sports car handling with American-inspired V8 power, creating a unique driving experience. Its low production numbers and impressive performance have made it a desirable collector's car. For those who can't get their hands on an original TR8, there's a thriving community of enthusiasts who convert TR7s to V8 power, creating what are known as TR7 V8. In Australia, some even use the larger 4.4-liter version of the Rover V8 that was developed for the Leyland P76 sedan. The story of the Triumph TR8 is one of potential not fully realized. It represents a fascinating moment in automotive history when a struggling British company tried to combine traditional sports car virtues with modern power and design. While it may not have achieved the commercial success its creators hoped for, the TR8 has secured its place in the hearts of enthusiasts and in the annals of sports car history. As we look back on the Triumph TR8, we're reminded of the passion and ingenuity that drive automotive innovation. It stands as a testament to the enduring appeal of the sports car and the never-ending quest for the perfect balance of power, handling, and style. The TR8 may have been short-lived, but its legacy lives on in the memories of those who built it, raced it, and loved it.